A good evening to you. You're watching ABS. Thanks for joining us. I am Ifunanya Amafili, and this is the evening news. Our story is trending for this evening. Governor OBIANO promises Anambra to be the first state to pay new minimum wage. NUJ President ISIGUZO commends digital strides by the ABS. International Organization for Migration blames movement of displaced persons on corruption. Scientists record a break in HIV cure as bone marrow transplant promises positive results. And we'll start with the news in details. Governor OBIANO says Anambra State government will be the first to pay the new national minimum wage. Governor OBIANO gave the hint at the Jerome Udoji Secretariat, Oka, during a parley with state civil servants. And our Government House correspondent, Ejike Abana, filed the report, which is now taken from our studio.
Friday,
civil servants from ministries, departments, and agencies thronged the Jerome Udoji Secretariat, Oka, to welcome the governor, who canvassed for their support, while reiterating that the welfare of the state workforce has been paramount to his administration. The governor stressed that the coming election will determine whether the salaries, gratuities, and pensions of civil servants will continue to come, as well as other largesse, pending whether only Abga candidates emerge victorious at the state assembly election or not. While declaring Friday work-free day for workers to enable them prepare for Saturday's election, he said that the minimum wage is over 1 billion naira, saying that state government has received reports by the Labour Committee but will commence its implementation to address workers' grievances and agitations.
30 over 30. Why they do anything other than that? It was 21 over. Don't leave the make it and the neighborhood. Madini, it's on our right to see. No, look, Aguayo, Nikedi, Moke, a Solu, Western Acculation Center. Nodo, a way to later, Opera, Niji for the next year. Until they finish circulation, what result? The Nakabasi money needs to give a Opera. So even now, you're on Saturday, Botano de Igwe. Go still in our governor, no one met you no former. Ometaka announce implementation of minimum wage. All those grievances listed by Nigerian Labour Union and the other bodies not here. We'll be able to address them. I saw here, no can announce here. I get first. Can you minimum wage you put up? If I can cost Anambra, let's assume now 27,000 Kabakwata. It's over 1.4 billion additional. Other fellow. When I got where?
The head of service, Barrister Harry Edu, assured that the state workforce is ready to follow the governor because of his numerous welfare packages to Anambra state workers, highlighting some of them to include payment of salaries, pensions, gratuities, Christmas largesse, ongoing renovation of the secretariat, among others.
Gratitude for one of the virtues of God. Nyana, onya mechara ni menina, kane mekwa, mando na tuziaka okageme. Oga agwagwa ni oku, anyị kacha enye eche. Ọgwa ebe sa anyị sie ka anyị ga-esie. Ụnụ nwana ebe sa anyị sie ka anyị ga-esie. Kwọọ na ya aka ni.
The state chairman of the Nigeria Labour Congress, Comrade Jerry Nnubia, said that because the governor has agreed and pronounced that he will be the first to pay the new national minimum wage, civil servants in the state should rally support for Abga candidates to ensure consolidation of his good works.
I am my life. Can you just make this minimum wage? Of course, nobody was going to I got to vote so that obviously now on the question I am question on Messi also I must go now opposite people can so Edimo now and Jolo nekene na governor. When I yon do nine, Bigo Siani on Saturday, 9th of March 2019, Kabuta Liwe. Pota Olo Divine Ibuni Bai Pota, Kaito Votua, na Apuga House members. Kai when we can, you were telling Lenine, who can in the governor today.
The Principal Secretary to the Anambra State Governor, Sir Willie Mokoye, has appealed to India Anambra to vote for all the All Progressive Congress Alliance APGA candidates in Saturday's House of Assembly elections in the state for continuous development of the state. Sir Mokoye made the appeal during the ABS television morning program, Good Morning Anambra, and our correspondent, Chibuzo Okoye, completes the story.
Samuel Okoye, who spoke on the topic sustaining good governance in Anambra State, said that there is a compelling need for India Anambra to vote for APGA candidates in the parliamentary election to help the executive in the state to fulfill its lofty objectives and goals. The Principal Secretary, who explained that aggrieved APGA members have been reconciled for the unity and development of the party, hinted that India Anambra, whom he described as an emotional set of people when it comes to voting, will not voting legislators that will hold the executive ransom by extorting money and as such crippling the good governance in the state.
The people in the House of Assembly is because, theoretically, whatever the governor and his men, including us, will do, must get the imprimatur of the House. The House must give it the power to do it. Okay. The House must pass the law to do it. People think that governors get up and do what they want to do. It's not correct. So, the House of Assembly is important.
Samuel Okoye, who expressed joy that has more members going to the National Assembly in this political dispensation than before, opined that he hopes that the second term administration of President Muhammadu Buhari will be better than the first term.
It's been reconciled, it's been done, and I want to assure you that it's not going to affect this Saturday's election. Don't take Anambra voters for granted. They follow their mind, they follow their conscience, they follow the picture that they have developed in their mind. They know, I know that OBIANO enjoys very, very, very good appeal with the people that he's leading. And they know that this Saturday is not OBIANO's election, but that OBIANO is an indirect beneficiary of the outcome of this election, his government. And you know that you will see how people are going to express.
Samuel Okoye revealed that the present administration is institutionalizing policies in the state and has futuristic plans for infrastructural development, and added that the governor has equally instituted a strategic financial system that will stand the test of time if adequately managed by those that will succeed him.
The Anambra State electorate have been implored to lay greater emphasis on sustenance of peace and stability of the state while casting their votes in the forthcoming House of Assembly elections. The chairman of the Justified APGA Aspirants Forum, JAAF, Mr. Nonso Okaka, gave this advice at ABS radio phone-in program, and our correspondent, Blessing Uchendu, completes the story.
Mr. Okaka explained that the election of all candidates of the ruling party in the state would guarantee uninterrupted delivery of democracy dividends by the OBIANO administration. He said that the JAF members have dropped their grievances and are ready to work for the success of the party ahead of the coming election, pointing out that opportunities abound in future.
Ka atunyela apụga nyenwekwana onye fere every vote biko apụga ndeba ife niile ga-adị mma ife dị ọkụ ga-ajụnata oyi.
Speaking further, the secretary of the group, Mr. Oke Akaneme, stressed the need for Ndi Igbo to realize that the All Progressives Grand Alliance is the only political party in the country that truly has the fundamental interest at heart, maintaining that massive support by them for APGA would provide a formidable and credible platform for the Igbo nation to regain relevance in the political affairs of Nigeria.
Na anyị ga-abanye jemi funde ba anyị nọ na villages na wards na ebe niile bụ afafapụta tụọ ọrụ apụga nke a bụ nke anyị ama anọ Anambra ewulu ọkụ na ọ bụ na atụrụla apụga setụbala apụga.
Contributing, some members of the forum, Mr. Frank Ajezue and Mrs. Francisca Nwanne, urged the people of the state to sustain their support for Governor Obiano's administration to complete its vision for the state. Some callers to the program, Chief Ikechukwu Onwudiwe from Obunka and Mr. Dozie Okeke from Ekulobia, added that APGA remains the best party and must be supported by every member to achieve the anticipated victory. In Oka, Blessing Uchendo, ABS News.
Journalists have been charged to maintain objectivity, balance and neutrality in their reportage during the forthcoming State Assembly elections. The National President, Nigerian Union of Journalists, NUJ, Comrade Chris ISIGUZO, gave the charge during a courtesy visit to the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer, Anambra Broadcasting Service, Chief Uche Ngora. Our reporter, Njideka Okoye, covered the visit and now reports.
Also going to have any problem, especially among our people, the media.
Comrade ISIGUZO advised media practitioners not to dance to the tune of desperate politicians for selfish interests. The NUJ president attributed minimal cases of harassment of journalists during the just concluded presidential and National Assembly elections in the country to efforts and commitments of NUJ to credible elections, which include a 3-day workshop with the Nigerian police for effective security. Comrade ISIGUZO commended the Anambra state government for its commitment to developing its state media, noting that Anambra is one of the few states that have functional and well-equipped state newspaper outfits, that ABS is second to none and one of the best broadcasting stations, and also praised the managing director, Chief Ngora, and the staff of the establishment for their renewed efforts in meeting up with international standards.
Our colleagues, our journalists, must maintain objectivity. They must be objective at all times. They must be neutral. They must maintain balance, in all they do. And once we are able to do this, I can tell you that we are not going to have any problem.
Responding, Chief Ngora thanked the NUJ national president for the visit, saying that looking at his caliber and performance, there is hope for the nation. Noting that ABS has gone this far due to Governor OBIANO's labor-friendly disposition, which made him to pay off the backlog of pensions and gratuity of retired staff of ABS. Chief Ngora stated that the present administration in the state built a brand new digital television for Anambra, of which no state-owned television could match, including great strides in digital reporting, and said the station would soon be on cable TV, assuring them that ABS will continue to be a strong partner of the NUJ.
It's important that I talk about the equipment, what we have now, because if you're a journalist and you don't have the right equipment, you don't have the right environment to function, you're not going to be a proud journalist. And still do better, because we're very ambitious. We're in Anambra, we don't accept little. As we speak, the Honorable Commissioner for Information, Mr. Sidon Adenoba, just came back from Lagos, where he had meetings with the management of DSTV, because it has been the desire of His Excellency that ABS should be on the cable TV, and that's already we're working on. Presently, we're on Star Times, we're on Metro Digital. We stream live on the internet, and then we have a YouTube channel. I don't think there's any other state-owned TV, even some of the private-owned, that do the kind of work that the ABS does online. So in that regard, I think you should be proud of the journalists that you have working at ABS. They're very, very committed.
In company to the visit were the Anambra State Chairman of NUJ, Comrade Emaife Nachi, and the Secretary, Comrade Emma Udaga, the Director, News and Current Affairs Department, ABS, Mr. Gabe Opaleze, and Head of Commentary Unit, Dr. Emeka Arinze, among others. In Oka, Njideka Okoye, ABS News.
Christians have been charged to be steadfast in faith and know that whatever they have is from God, as the family of Mr. and Mrs. Obini Onuchukwu dedicated their son to the service of God. In a sermon tagged Covenant Day of Open Doors, held at Living Faith Church, Unizik Temp site, Oka, the resident pastor, Pastor Tony Amaifule, noted the importance of dedicating children to God Almighty, saying it is the solid foundation for any child to grow on. Ushe filed the report, taken from our studio.
The resident pastor blessed the child named Dominion with knowledge, wisdom, favor, and the fear of God.
In the name of Jesus Christ, in your time you will be greater than your family. In the name of Jesus Christ, you will not die before your time. The number of your days you will fulfill. When you grow up, you will marry the right wife. In the name of Jesus Christ, the grace of God will not be lacking in your house. Sickness will not know your body.
On his part, Mr. OBIANO Chukwu, the father of the baby, thanked God abundantly for the gift of a child and called on all expectant couples not to lose faith while waiting on the Lord for the fruit of the womb, noting that children only come from God.
Found favor in God, using her to bless my life. So I'm very happy and I'm very fulfilled. I'm very excited and established having her as a wife. And she's been the best of my friends and the best anybody can think of. God cannot change. He remains God and nothing short of that. He will answer in due time and he will answer double. Just be patient and be focused. Believe in him, trust him, worship him, serve him with all your life and all you have. He will not fail. He will answer.
Following was a brief ceremony at the family's residence at Opono, Oka, which had in attendance the Deputy Governor of Anambra State, Dr. Nkem Okeke, his wife, other top government officials, and the National President of Nigerian Union of Journalists, Comrade Chris ISIGUZO. Also in attendance was the Director, News and Current Affairs Department of the Anambra Broadcasting Service, Mr. Gabe Opaleze, who called on God to bless the family to enable them raise the child in the way that pleases him.
Use what is happening today. When you give thanks to God, He gives another opportunity to beg Him for another thing. We call on God Almighty to remember all the families in Anambra State and the world beyond, all over the world, that are still seeking for the fruit of the womb. God said that there will be no barren women among His people, and these are His people. We only want to remind Him that there are some people that are still waiting on Him. And we pray and believe that in time to come, those families will begin to nurture their own babies in the name of Jesus Christ our Lord.
On his part, the Managing Director of National Light, Sachuka Nnabife, prayed for God's blessings on the newborn.
Still to come, International Organization for Migration blames movement of displaced persons on corruption. And on the foreign scene, scientists record a break in HIV cure as bone marrow transplant promises positive results. Do stay with us. We'll be back shortly.
Inner strength? Yeah, that comes from the hard knocks that life throws at us. And we Nigerians, we know all about that. We don't stay down, we get up and fight. Sure, it's about speed, technique, quality of the punches, reach. But the real fight is with myself.
It's the power, but it's the speed as well.
But I can't carry this heavyweight title by myself. There's always got to be someone in my corner. And that's why I believe in Glow. We have that same tenacity, that Nigerian fighting spirit that makes us game changers. You have to dig deep to be a world champion. But yeah, we Nigerians, yeah, we know all about that.
What a fight!
Glow, our halo.
Heavyweight champion of the world!
Welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. If you're just joining us, it's the news this evening. And the United Nations Migration Agency has revealed that ongoing conflicts in insurgency-affected states have continued to trigger the movement of displaced persons and increase malnutrition in children. The International Organization on Migration made this known in its Displacement Tracking Matrix report for Nigeria made available to newsmen today in Abuja. The DTM reports indicated that 1,606 movements were recorded between February 18th and 24th, including 1,505 arrivals and 101 departures amongst internally displaced persons in the Northeast. It stated that arrivals were recorded at locations in Asika, Uba, Bama, Chibok, Dambao, Gwaza, Jere, Konduga, Meduguri, Mombar, and Ngala local government area of Borno State. It listed other locations of arrival to include Demsa, Fulfore, Maiha, and Numang local government area of Adamawa State. And from our business desk, the Central Bank of Nigeria has announced the restrictions of sales of foreign exchange to importers of textile and other clothing materials. The CBN Governor, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, said this in Abuja during a meeting with stakeholders in the cotton value chain. He said the restriction, which takes immediate effect, was to encourage the growth of the textile and cotton industry. He said henceforth, banks and dealers in the foreign exchange market are prohibited from selling forex to those seeking to import textiles and clothing materials. Now moving over to the foreign scene, a bone marrow stem cell transplant has led to a patient with human immunodeficiency virus, HIV, going into long-term remission, meaning he might become the second person to be cured of the infection. Now, although the patient has been in remission for 18 months, the authors of the British study published today in the science journal Nature cautioned it was too early to say he had been cured. Almost 3 years after receiving a bone marrow stem cell from a donor with a rare genetic mutation that resists HIV infections, and more than 18 months after coming off his antiretroviral drugs, highly sensitive tests still show no trace of the man's previous HIV infection. There has been only one documented case of HIV, which causes acquired immune deficiency syndrome, AIDS, being cured. 12 years ago, the Berlin patient received a bone marrow transplant of stem cells from a donor with 2 copies of the mutilation of the genes CCR5, known to be resistant to HIV. The patient's disease was sent into permanent remission using treatments described as aggressive and toxic. Numerous attempts to replicate the procedure have not been successful until now, with the latest case dubbed that of the London patient. The case is proof of the concept that scientists will one day be able to find an end to AIDS. The doctor said, but does not mean a cure for HIV has been found. And on our sports decks, kidnappers have released the mother of Bulldogs and Nigerian winger Samuel Kalu after holding her for nearly a week, the police revealed today. Mrs. Ozronye Juliet Kalu was seized from her car on February 27th as she traveled to her home in Abia State. Reports said the kidnappers demanded some 3 million naira for her release, but it was not known whether the money was paid. Abia State Police spokesman Godfrey Ogbonna said. Sporting Live quoted the 21-year-old footballer as saying the kidnappers initially asked for 3 million naira, then upped the demand to 15 million. Kalu made a breakthrough into Nigeria's national side in October last year, shortly after joining French League One side Bordeaux from Belgian outfit Gent. Last year, the father of Nigerian World Cup skipper John Mikelobi was kidnapped at gunpoint. Now, don't forget that you can follow our news and programs on ABS from any part of the world simply by logging onto our website, which is www.absradiotv.com, or like us on our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/ABS Radio Television, and follow us on our Twitter and Instagram and YouTube handle at ABS Radio TV. Now, before we end the news this evening, we'll go through our main points trending for today. Governor OBIANO has promised Anambra will be the first state to pay new minimum wage. NUJ President ISIGUZO has commended digital strides by the ABS. International Organization for Migration has blamed movement of displaced persons on corruption. And on the foreign scene, scientists have recorded a break in HIV cure as bone marrow transplant promises a positive result. And with that, we'll wrap up the news this evening from the studio of ABS. Many thanks for being with us. My name is Ifunanya Amafili. Have a pleasant evening.